I guess you're noticing these kinds of things. How does one? So let's say you get elected, right? You go through the process. Not to say you won't, but like, I'm just worded like that. But like, you go through the process. Now you're in the position. How do you actually start to enact some of these changes to like work on some of these issues?
First of all, I want to see how the budget's done. I want to see how the money's allocated, and I want to sit down with all those that are doing the allocations, and we'll discuss it. Because from what I see, there aren't that many people that are really aware of how the accounting is done, what's done. When we met with the mayor, she brought along her the head of finance, the director of finance. I asked her some questions, and she brought her assistant, and it sort of died. We exchanged back and forth, and I wanted to get the details of their accounting. I wanted to get the accounting, the actual data for their accounting, and I hit a wall. Nobody was able to provide me with any of that information. But no, what I will be doing though, once I do become, if I do become borough mayor, is I will confront the city and ask them to see the formula and see how they allocate this money.
That's like the main focus of it, because I feel like, not to like be contrarian or whatever, but like I like to just ask stuff as I think. Everyone seems to want to do that, and apparently Sue has tried to do that and was met with resistance, maybe because of the whole party affiliation. But I mean, how does one actually get that data? And I mean that, like, just, I don't know, like, what if they say no, kind of thing.
Well, so far that's what's happened to me so far. Is I've been said no, but at one point, once you get your foot in the door, it's a question of knocking on offices to see who's the ones in charge of running. The system is called Simon. The city, it's sort of a large integrated system where they have their financial planning, they have their human resources. It's all in that one system, and it's just to track the one person. It's most likely a team of data experts that capture these tables that have the financial information in them.
Fair. I know what you mean by that. I mean, like, I'm super into data analysis, so I'm following it on that front, and I understand like what you're coming from. Um, that's dope in the sense of what your goal is, and then how you got the whole Action Montreal party. Is that your party, or is that like a separate party?
That's a party that was formed by Gilles Thibodeau. He's running for mayor of Montreal.
Okay.
Initially, I had started a party with three other people, was in the community, a local borough party, but it didn't work out. And some people from Gilbert Thibodeau's party reached out to me. And from there, I said, sure. I accepted the offer to run for them in CDN-NDG. It's more to get some popularity, raise awareness of his party. And that's mostly what my goal is to get him elected as mayor.
So like, I honestly do not know who he is with regards to his name. Is now another name I have to Google at this point.
Yeah.
So what's this party about, and how does it like compare, I guess, against the other ones?
What we want to do is we want to run the city in an intelligent fashion, like sort of as if you were to run a business. For instance, Gilbert Thibodeau has he's owned several businesses. One of the major things that we want to do is reduce the amount of elected officials in city. We have more councillors and more elected officials than the city of Toronto and New York combined. So there's easy ways of saving money and saving a lot of waste. We want to give merchants a chance. We want if for instance, if there's a city construction over a 30-day period over was in front of a merchant, we want to give that merchant a tax break on that, and we want to reduce taxes in general for all merchants. We want to reduce the welcome tax, although we will be increasing it for foreign purchases of houses. But we're looking more at running the city more
Oh,
efficiently.
you should really expand on that point. That's a really good point, that you, because you gotta understand, a lot of people might not be up to date with the fist financy stuff. So like, I guess I'm following you really clear, and maybe you should emphasize on the welcome tax, what it is for the non-homeowners and such, and why increasing it for foreign folk is actually an asset.
Okay, well, the welcome tax, I mean, it's a hurdle for first-time home buyers that want to purchase a house because it adds to the sale price. But at the same time, and that's a it's an amount, it's what they call land transfer tax in normal terms. Um, for foreigners that purchase a house, I mean, if they live in it or if they have a spouse that lives in it, that's fine. But if the house is or if the unit's purchased solely for either for holding on to it, not for doing anything at all, then we'll be charging a 20% additional tax on it to make it not to make it dissuasive, but we're locals should be having a first shot at housing here in Montreal.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm 33. I'm in that position where I'm like, oh, I think I was born a little 10 years too late to cop a house on island, and I'm going to have to leave the island if I want a house. But don't worry, there's apartments that are, I mean, condos. Condos are there, popping up all over. I'm not really personally thrilled by condos, but yeah, I appreciate what you're saying. Like, where there's that really, really not amazing looking house on Rosedale that's like $500,000 right now, and it's wild because it's really the worst look. No offense, but it's like the worst looking house on the block, and it's $500,000, and it's like, wow. And they know they can hold it because somebody will buy it at $500,000, and that's the wild part.
Yeah, yeah. I couldn't even afford my own house. That's how crazy the situation is.
It is. But that's actually like a real solution. Like it's an actual like it's the first time somebody said, "Here's the thing we can do." Granted, it might take the big mare to get in.
Yeah, and there's other things as well too. For instance, we've purchased a lot of units for social housing, and these units are not being used. They're decrepit. They're not habitable. Uh, Rather than purchase out or buy out new apartments or new buildings and converting them, we want to use what we have right now. We have an inventory. Is start working on those inventories and getting those converted rather than announcing new units without actually converting what you have now on hand.
Yeah, there's a lot of really wealthy people, I believe, attached to some of those new units, though. How do you like work around that hurdle?
What do you mean?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, there's a lot of new units that get put up because there's a lot of wealthy real estate people that go ahead and create the big condo units instead of anyone really putting attention on the other units. A lot of that's like privately done, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
versus the city backlog, which doesn't get the same level of like funding. I don't know. Somebody was just, I think one of them was Joel, I think, was talking about the whole like group of people that cleaned up the buildings and how like there's a backlog of tasks and chores that's really ridiculous right now, and like there's just so much to do with it across the city.
Well, that's the thing. The city has like, for instance, yeah, I know the units where Joel helped clean out. Those units are owned by the city. They're owned by the central city. The borough is passing the buck, saying, "Well, it's not their responsibility. It's the central city's responsibility." Find whoever's responsibility it is, clean up that unit and make it habitable because that's one unit that's off the market. We need more units on the market. It's a part of the problem is a supply and demand issue as well too, and we're not meeting up supply because we're keeping all these things bottled up because they're crap right now. They're not being fixed.
That is definitely fair. I can see how you're looking at this really like from a position of like we got to come through and get rid of the bureaucracy and just kind of come at it pragmatically.